A Walk to Remember, Rodin and Clara Continued, May 17th, 2014, will always be a Sunday to remember for Rodin. For the Gunners, Arsenal fans out there, I'm certainly sure you remember it too. Arsenal came from 2 goals down to trounce Hull City by 3-2 in the FA Cup final. But for Rodin, not a soccer diehard but a fan, it's not the soccer that is worth the effort of his reminiscences for that day, but rather his story with Clara. We had a spiritual counseling session that day with a man of God, he says. However, it isn't the counseling that forces him to take a trip down the prestigious memory lane for that day, but rather the quality time they spent Clara. It was one of those days with a very bright sun in the early morning hours. They arrived at the counseling center early on time, even before the man of God could. Upon reaching, there was already a queue right from the entrance, through the hallway, all the way down to the stairs and slight beyond. With first come, first serve as the protocol, they joined the queue and engaged into their usually interesting schmoes. After nearly an hour of a conversation that kept them grinning almost every second, she said she was feeling famished. "Neither did I have supper, nor did I wake up on time for breakfast," Rodin recollects in quotation of what Clara exactly said as he stares outside through my window. They went to a supermarket that was just a spit distance away to grab some eats. Milk and a cake they bought. While she picked her milk from the freezer, she spotted a nice lisu on the other side of the shelves. "It's beautiful. I have to buy it." He once again quotes her words as he scratches his head to remember the exact price of the lisu. It cost about 15,000 shillings, if I'm not mistaken. Clad in a pair of tight jeans, she wrapped the lisu around her waist and suddenly changed from beautiful to ravishing. She sat and ate as they continued to wait for the man of God, who arrived shortly after a feast at around 1 p.m. Later on, they met the man of God as scheduled and left. Being in her company was like listening to the late Whitney Houston's music. Sometimes you just can't get enough of it. May her soul rest in peace. They went back to his place where they had tiffin together. But by the time they reached home, Rodin was completely hard up to buy lunch, not just for himself, but also for his guest friend. While he made plans to access a nearby ATM for some cash, Clara gave him some money for lunch with no strings attached. From a nearby restaurant, he bought lunch, and together they ate. After the opulent meal, they perched by the couch. After a short while, they had their hands held together for a couple of minutes. Rodin has a fuzzy description or explanation for that particular moment, but all he could say is that it felt good and special. How it all came about, even he didn't know, but he says it just happened. I guess the moment just felt right. Later on, with the sun setting, they had to call it a day for each of them to return to their evening schedule. With an internally contained emotional goodbye, he sent her off. Although he was never glad to see her back, he also knew more than anyone else that it's not the goodbyes that hurt, but the flashbacks that follow. Spending time with Clara seemed to be the best thing that ever happened to him since sliced bread. Although he was disappointed that his actions didn't speak louder than words that day, he took consolation in having spent the day with her. I guess actions are overrated sometimes. Events of that particular day were the final blow that broke the camel's back. Rodin was all ready to face the music from Clara's suitor for as long as he wasn't to burn to ashes with secret love at the bottom of his heart, just to keep his word to his suitor. Hi everyone, this is Robert K. Circles. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, I'd be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Give us a like on your favorite podcast platform. Leave a comment letting us know what you thought. We love hearing your feedback. And if you know someone who might enjoy the show, please share it with them. Your support means the world to me and helps us reach more listeners. Thanks again for being a part of the Robert K. Circles community. Until next time, take care.